The commands on the default toolbars inside of Fusion 360 after you first install the product are set up decently, but let's take a look and see how you can customize it so it works better for the way that you would like to work. What I want to talk about is adding or removing commands of the toolbars in each one of the workspaces. So you can see each one of the workspaces on the screen has its own default toolbar and default commands that are on those toolbars. Before I started this tutorial, I reset all my toolbar customizations, and at the end of this video, I'll show you how you can reset your toolbars so you can go back to the stock installation of Fusion 360. If we look at the sketch toolbar, we see that there's 3 commands located on there right now, and there might be other commands that I'd like to add, or there might be commands on the toolbar that I don't want to see at all. So let's take a look and see how we can customize that. One of the commands that I personally use a lot is on the rectangle, and it's a center point rectangle. Now I can go through that menu and get there all the time, but it's easier if I were just to add that as a top level command in the toolbar. To do that, when I hover over the center rectangle, you'll see that there's an arrow that's pointing up, and when I click on that arrow, that command is now added to the toolbar. And I can just go and click on it and start using it. I'm going to add another command to the toolbar. So I'm going to go up there and click on the ellipse and add the ellipse to the top level toolbar. And now when I go back to the sketch menu and I hover over the ellipse command, you can see that there's an X. Clicking on the X will remove that from the toolbar. I'm going to go re-add that command again and show you a different way you can do the same thing. If I want to remove the ellipse off the toolbar, something else that I can do is just click on the ellipse and drag it off onto the canvas and let go. And now that command is removed from the toolbar. So keep in mind, for each workspace, you can customize any of the panels on the toolbars. Another handy command that we can use inside of Fusion is called the S key, which brings up something called the toolbox. So if I click on S, you can see that I am currently in the model toolbox. This toolbox changes for each one of the workspaces as well. So you can have a different toolbox for each workspace and can be customized for each one of them. Currently on my toolbox, I have the extrude command. There might be a command that I'd like to add on there, such as a model fillet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in fillet, and you can see that some fillet results come up, and the first one's a sketch fillet, and the second one's a model fillet. I'm going to go ahead and push the up arrow, and that's going to add that command to the toolbar. Let's also add the sketch fillet on there. I'm going to go ahead and click and add that to the toolbar. And now you can see that those are some of the commands that I have. If I click on the S button and I see a command that I don't want to have anymore, such as the sketch fillet, I can just click in it and drag it off, and now that's removed. Or I can also type the command, find it, and click on the X, and that will remove it from the toolbox as well. The toolbox is handy because wherever my mouse is where the toolbox will appear. So that saves me from having to go up to the toolbars constantly to pick different commands. Some of the commands we can only add when we're in a certain mode. So for instance, from the sketch mode, some of the things are only applicable when we're in an active sketch. One of the things that I use a lot is D on the keyboard, but I also choose sketch dimensions from the toolbar. And you can see right now that's currently grayed out. So in order to add that, first I would have to start an active sketch, click on a sketch plane, and now if I go to the sketch menu, I can see that my sketch dimension is available and I can place it up there. I'm going to stop the sketch, and you can notice that when we stop the sketch, the command is still on the toolbar, but it's inactive and I can't click on it. Should you ever want to go back to the default mode, what you can always do is right click on any of these toolbars and you can reset customization. So for instance, if I go to the sketch panel and I click, and I can reset the panel customization back, or I could choose to right click and say reset all toolbar customization, and that will revert Fusion back to its original way that it was first installed.